5-minute penalty to Chicago, a game misconduct, and then Manson having words with Steven. And now Butcher gets into it. We're going to have a brawl, folks. Stand by.
What's up, everybody? Tyler Cash here. It's an episode of Fourth Line Goon Hockey Podcast. Finally chatting hockey with my boy Tommy. How we feeling, bud?
Tired in general, not just from Blues hockey, but a lot of work shit, a lot of other stuff going on. Just a lot of shit happening.
A lot of life, adulting.
No good outlets right now. Baseball is over. Cardinals choke, so they can go deep into October. Blues haven't won a game since we podcasted, and probably then some, about 2+ weeks ago. And it's not getting any better. So
yeah, and we'll definitely dive into what the hell is going on with the St. Louis Blues. I feel like if anybody could have some insight as to what they need to do, it would be you of all people, honestly. But like I said, we'll get into that. It's just good to see you, man. It's good to chat. You gonna try to make it into Vegas this weekend?
I'm literally gonna do a probably like a 24-hour turnaround.
Well, I mean, hey, you deserve it though. Getting away, gonna throw back a few. Watch your Blues get their asses kicked, probably here in my own barn.
Watch that be the game. The Blues just fucking like win 8-2 or some bullshit.
You know what though? Like the Blues need the point. My Knights are first in the league. They have the longest win streak with 8 games.
Yeah, Blues have the longest lose streak with 8 games. Something's got to give.
Wow. Yeah, they lost to the Philadelphia Flyers tonight, right? I saw that 3-0.
5-1 final.
Wait, 5-1?
3-0 after the second, and then
my
5-1 at the end.
You know what? Let's start with this then. I feel like we're already chatting about it. What the hell's going on?
Blues can't buy a break. They're averaging less than 1.7 goals a game, easily last in the league. Going up against the team who has the third worst goals per game in the NHL, and the Flyers, 2.5. They pop 5 on you. Go figure. Simply put, Blues just aren't getting any breaks. I mean, I caught as much the first period as I could, but some of the second. I mean, Blues had 3 crossbars in the first period. I mean, you're that close to, being 1 or 2 or 3-0 to kick off the game. Who knows what happens from there? And then what the tale of time this season is, the Blues just don't play defense in the second period, which is crazy because I believe last year the Blues had a top 5 goal differential in the second period, and now it's last in the league. They've, right, I think, allowed 3 goals in the second period, the last 4 of their 5 games. Rough. I mean, Blues can't score. Guys on defense aren't, I guess, playing their man quite well. Forwards aren't back checking. The 4th goal tonight against the Flyers, Kyrou coasts into the zone. His guy's wide open.
And it really makes no sense because on paper the Blues have some of the best defense in the league. I mean,
sorry to rephrase, Kyrou, they didn't score because Grice made a hell of a save, but guy's wide open. Kyrou's coasting back for per usual this season for whatever fucking reason, and prime scoring chance that Grice keeps it from being 4-0, but then eventually 4-0 came later, and then 4-1, 5-1. Yeah, but
I mean, yeah, but to my point, Torrey Krug, Nick Leddy, which they added last year, Parayko, Bortuzzo, who just celebrated, what was that, his 500th NHL game, which is just crazy. I mean, their defense looks like it should be good, but then you got Torrey Krug sitting at a -11, and as you mentioned, the forwards they're not back checking. This is atrocious. -15 for Jordan Kyrou. -15.
And you're 10 games into the season now, 11.
Right,
now?
and he's been juggled around. It's not like he's solidified their top line minutes. He's just on the ice every time the opposing team is scoring. And then when you look at the flip side, I guess he did net a few as of recently, but 3 goals and 1 assist for 4 points in 10 games.
-2 tonight, so now he's a -17 in 11 games played.
Wow.
Fucking nuts.
Yeah. So it seems like the Blues, the only people that are somewhat showing up is the Shen. He's got 10 points in 10 games, but most of those assists. Falk, not bad. I mean, I guess he's got the best plus minus out of majority of their defensemen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going back like 2 seasons, right? And I'm looking at the defense 2 seasons ago, I think compared to pretty much now. And like the only thing is like still had Justin Falk, had Vince Dunn. He's now with Kraken, obviously from the expansion draft. Still had Bortuzzo. Gunnarsson had that knee surgery, kind of came back, ended up retiring. Had Krug, had Mikkola, who's had a couple years to develop, have Parayko, who's had even a couple more years to develop and should be in his prime. And then you had just depth guys like Santini, Renke, Wallman. So you have pretty much Parayko, Mikkola, Krug, Falk, and Bortuzzo. 5 of your 6 guys are there 2 years ago, and you're top of the league. So it's a combination of like you can't score, so you're in this rut where as soon as you go down 1 goal, you're basically like, oh, we're fucked. I feel like, and if you can't score and you can't get any breaks, again, 3 crossbars in the first period, like that's brutal. And a team that not even scoring 2 goals a game. I'm sure that's even worse if you go over this 8-game span versus to take out the 3 wins we have. But yeah, I mean, you have that combined with just, I think of the Kings Blues game where you just let in 3 back to back to back, cross crease, guys literally just sitting there at the other side of the crease, just tap ins, and no one's there to cover them. So it's like the defense is playing good for 50 minutes, 55 minutes of the game. It's these 30-second minute spurts where somehow things just get out of whack, either from defenders just leaving guys wide open in the front, like game against the Bruins 2 nights ago, or yesterday. Granted, you're on the PK. There are 2 goals, literally a guy less than 5 feet out from Bennington, and the other guy's teed up basically right in between the circles. What do you think is going to happen, and why is no one defending that? It's like you're just setting yourself up for failure. Yeah,
right.
and then all of a sudden you're deflated, and that builds, and then another shitty goal gets let up, and it just mounts, and then no one's able to break out of it. I mean, the Blues tried old tricks tonight, tried to get a couple fights going. They didn't win either of them, and then kind of all right, got out of the first, scoreless. Like that's not the worst thing, and then yeah, 3 goals in the last 10 minutes of the second, let alone one with 3 seconds to go, which is a huge backbreaker. It's just people can't score. You're getting 0 production from anyone, which is even crazier because you had the most guys with 20 goals last year on a team in like 20 years, I think. Like 7 20-goal scorers, 8 20-goal scorers, whatever it was, and now no one can find the fucking back of the net. Like, what gives? And
Yeah,
you have Perron gone. Sure, you have Husso gone, but that's gonna suddenly make all of your offense dry up. I don't buy it.
Yeah, I mean, that hasn't really affected the team yet. That's the scary part. These contracts that you have coming up for Robert Thomas and Jordan Kyrou haven't even taken, they haven't kicked in yet. So when those contracts kick in, these 7 points, in 10 games at a -5 for Robert Thomas. And then, as I mentioned with Kyrou, -15, you said -17 after tonight. Then that's going to look really bad. The team is in shambles and they have no identity and they're just struggling when your captain 1 goal for 1 point.
2 now. Okay. He tied John Gibson in the scoring race, so it's two for each now. Just for what it's worth.
But I know people like to shit on the plus minus, like it doesn't really matter, but -12 for one of the best 2-way centers in the league. I mean, like that's his bread and butter, right? Like, always forcing the forecheck, like always getting back in enough time, just making the right moves, like in making the right plays. I mean, what's going on with him? I mean, I saw like there was a post-game interview where he was getting interviewed and he's like, he took full responsibility, which I thought was great. But I mean, from there, you have to evolve, you have to adapt, you have to change. And yeah, I mean, 2 points in 11 games at at least a -12. I don't know if that stat changed because of the night or not, is not acceptable for Ryan O'Reilly.
Yeah, he's even tonight for what it's worth. But yeah, I mean, like, what's interesting is again, I get production and the young guys and everything, but like O'Reilly played 16 minutes tonight. Robert Thomas played almost 20 minutes tonight. Braden Shin played 18 minutes tonight. So something, I don't know, something's going on. I mean, even situationally speaking, like he's your shutdown center, but something's not happening. But again, that's one part of the puzzle. You got guys left wide open on the PK. You got guys left wide open on cross crease passes for absolutely no reason. And it's like when the puck gets cycled in the zone, people just don't know where to go lately. And it's frustrating to see. And then people want to obviously bag on goaltending as well. Sure. I mean, you can look at it and say, yeah, I mean, maybe they could have had one back, but cool. If they had one back, even two back, still can't fucking score.
Yeah, you
Not
can't
gonna
find
change
it back in
anything.
the net.
So,
Yeah, goaltending's not going to mean anything at that point. I know you did mention before, though, that you feel like the performance of Binnington during the regular season last year was lackluster, and he really doesn't turn it on until like the pressure mounts. I mean, at this point now, they have to start winning games. And the last time this team looked this bad to start the season, they got a first overall pick,
yeah,
2006
don't
Stanley
that
Cup
one.
champion Eric Johnson.
Rough.
That's the last time this team was this bad out the gate. So my question to you is, what changes? What gives? How are they going to turn this around? Or is this going to be just something where you're going to continue to ride the season out and compete for the Bedard draft lottery, I guess?
I think it's still too early for that. There's teams out there that are just way worse on paper, on ice. I don't care how you put it. Like the Blues aren't even a bottom 5 team. If the season continues the way it does, I feel like that's being as realistic as I can. Yeah, I can see him being an absolute shitter right now. But I mean, the way to put it is like the GM Doug Armstrong already came out and said, like, this isn't a coach problem. I'm not moving the fucking coach, basically. I'm not firing a coach. We've done that like 3 times before. Not happening again. This guy was in our AHL development group. He brought up young guys. He developed young guys. Clearly not him. He's not the issue. He had what, 3 seasons now where he's been under the helm and had great individual regular season success. And all of a sudden no one wants to play. This doesn't seem like a coach issue. And then like they said, if this keeps happening, maybe the locker room needs to be shaken up. Maybe someone needs to get out. There's also word that giving Kyrou that 8-year deal, people aren't happy about it in the locker room too. So like, who knows? Like, did he earn it? I mean, sure, he had a great season on paper where he put up nearly a point per game, but he was a ghost at the end of the season. Wasn't really that productive in playoffs, to my knowledge. I mean, maybe he was, but like to be able to do that and then kind of jump into the deal that he got, it's about 8 years, 65 mil. So like, a little bit over 8 mil a season. And then, yeah, it's just, I don't know. I mean, same with Thomas, but I mean, for what it's worth, I feel like Thomas was a bit more consistent.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, either way, however you want to cut it, like, I think the Blues took gambles on both of them, thinking, okay, if these both guys have a great fucking year next year, we're probably looking at like 9, 10 mil. You know, if they put a point per game again at that point. And then did the Blues pay that? Like, did they do another bridge deal? Are they gone in 3 years or 5 years versus potentially 8? So who the fuck knows at this point? I feel like, and we'll figure it out as we go. I think because there's not really much to say besides players need a wake up call. Team needs to play a complete game together, and if that doesn't happen anytime soon, like I'm expecting something to happen. I mean, you can easily speculate. Who knows? Maybe you're finally say fuck it. See you, Tarasenko. We're done.
Yeah.
We'll pull the plug there. Maybe that does something. I don't know. Maybe you do something even drastic or than that. I mean, maybe you find a way to move like a Thomas or a Kyrou on someone else who has a similar deal who might be like a 5 mil or 6 mil player and be like, you know what? Fuck it. We'll eat some of the cost. And it'll be the same cost as Kyrou, but the guy is actually going to pluck and play defense, right? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how else you kind of cut it, but maybe the locker room needs to shake up like that because it's whatever they're putting out on the ice is just not working.
Yeah, I'm with you. They definitely need to shake up, and they need it sooner than later. I know you say it is early, and there is to be said, something to be said with that because
I mean,
there are teams
you've lost 10% of the season in a row. I mean, look at it that way.
Yeah, I mean, so there's plenty of time to turn it around to at least get that wild card situation going. I mean, and you can't expect these teams that are currently where they are to just stay put. As we talked about in the last episode, me and my boy Alex, we kind of went and through each division and talked about like each team that's sitting on it. And as of right now, Boston, New Jersey, Dallas, and Vegas, after a couple of games, are still sitting at the top of their divisions, but anything can happen. Speaking of which, how about that? New Jersey Devils started off shitty and then kind of came back around. I mean, I had to point that out because you told me, you know, as we started off our predictions for the season, you thought there was no way in hell this team was going to turn it on. What's your take on what they've got going on?
It's interesting because like looking at things like they're winning, like the games that they're winning, that the games that I feel like matter lately have been like close games, and they've been regulation, like 4-3 win against Edmonton, 4-3 win against Calgary in overtime. Go back a few games prior to that, 1-0 shutout against the Avalanche.
Wow, yeah.
You know, stuff like that where it's just like, why is this team winning? Like, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And then like there's games where they'll, you know, beat the teams that they should beat. And then there's games where they just get blown out. Like they beat the Blue Jackets 7-1 because Blue Jackets just blow, quite honestly.
Yeah. Hope you're having fun up there, Johnny Hockey, by the way.
Yeah, no kidding.
I think about that like almost every other day and have like a slight chuckle to myself that dude thought he was just making the right decision. And you know what? Maybe he did for his family, but holy hell. Like he's got to be getting used to losing for quite some time. I mean, even Line can't stay healthy. He's been injured twice already now this season. And
yeah, it's rough.
It's definitely rough. But I don't know if you've caught a lot. I know you're busy lately, but the Devils games have been fun. Like they do have like this weird kind of like hype aura around them where it seems like the guys in that locker room are clicking.
Yeah.
And obviously Jesper Bratt, 18 points now. He put up I think 19. He put up an assist tonight, and he's betting on himself and turning down. He's going to be an RFA, so he was turning down contracts, 8-year contracts left and right from the New Jersey Devils. So he's like in a contract year, if you will. Like he's fighting for basically to get that $10 million payment. So like watching him has been exciting. Obviously, Nico Hischier's having himself a hell of a year. They're young, they're fast. So it's been fun hockey to watch. And as you mentioned, I didn't even realize all the plethora of wins that they've been pulling out of their ass. Like a 1-9
in the last 10, and like the wins that they're winning against teams that they probably arguably shouldn't be beating on paper, and then to also be doing it with a tandem of Vitek Vanacek and Mackenzie Blackwood, who did just I think go on IR for a few weeks, but like, and like what's crazy is like you look at their stats and like
they're not great, they're not good at all.
Yeah,
some of the worst
908 save percentage for Vanacek, Blackwood 88 save percentage, but he's 4-2.
Right.
Fuck if I know how that works.
Just finding ways for sure.
Yeah. And then, I mean, yeah. And again, too, it's like the guys you're expecting to get production from, you're getting Jesper Bratt, again, betting on himself, motivated as hell, motivated as fuck to, you know, get paid. Nico Hischier, you know, point per game. Jack Hughes finally being Jack Hughes. Everyone's hoping point per game player. You know, Dougie Hamilton, solid production from D side as well. Like they're guys you expect to be good, and everyone else is kind of chipping in. I think the underrated ad there was Ryan Graves, I think, too, on D. But
he came over from Colorado, right?
Mm-hmm. So he's doing solid too in terms of like some offensive production and being on the right side of the puck. But I mean, yeah, I think that's great too. I mean, I think what's interesting, like the two teams that have always struck me as like very similar in terms of having like veteran players lately, especially having like, you know, goaltending that if you're a fan of the team, you're like, all right, yeah, I believe in this. But like everyone's like, it's not so great. Like Binnington and Grice kind of sucks. It's like Pittsburgh Penguins. Like they got this big trio, right? Of Malkin, Crosby, Letang. They're 4-8, 4-6-2. Not much better than the Blues, you know. But at the same time, like, yeah, they got Tristan Jarry and what's his face?
Who's Jarry's hurt, right? I'm pretty sure.
I don't think he's hurt. I'm blanking on the Penguins backup goalie right now. Casey DeSmith.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, that's like a Grice-esque, I feel like, caliber goalie, but younger. And yeah, I mean, you look at these guys and you just see stuff like,
The points are there. The points are there for the Penguins, which is really wild. I mean, Crosby has 14 points in 12 games, 6 goals, 8 assists. So he's being Crosby. You mentioned, the three-headed monster with Malkin as well, 12 points. But then you got Rust still contributing decent amount, and Getzel and Zucker has 8 points. I mean, it's not bad.
Yeah, here's the thing, right? You look at their schedule. They've lost both their games in regulation to the Kraken this year. They lost 6-3 to the Sabres. They lost to the Flames, lost to the Oilers. They lost to the Canadiens in overtime. Like games that they should those are probably of 4 of those. The Seattle game, probably the Buffalo game, probably the Montreal game. All games they should win. They don't. They lose 5-1 to the Canucks, who shit the bed out of the gate too on a back-to-back, mind you. Like stuff like that is just not adding up. And they're getting the production, but they tend to not get the goaltending to really go along with it. I mean, Yari and DeSmith are both over 3
in the threes. Yeah.
So, I mean, season's kind of crazy so far.
Yeah. Someone mentioned this might be the first year, if it continues in this direction, that both the Pens and the Caps wouldn't make playoffs. Obviously we're once again very early in the season, but it's crazy that we're seeing these other teams emerge and do things. And
I think more than that, this could be the first time in a really long time where you see a bunch of new blood in a sense of teams that didn't make it last year, make it this year too. Again, as it stands right now, New Jersey leading, followed by the Islanders. Props to them for being 9-5 out of the gate. Got Detroit coming in, who missed. You got Philly coming in right now, who's the wild card spot number 1. That's 4 out of the East. Go to the West. You have Seattle, Winnipeg. So that's 2 there. And then Dallas leading the division, which is fucking nuts in its own right. Yeah, I mean, granted, again, we're 15, 17, 18% through the season for some teams. There's a lot of hockey to go. But
very interesting, different start. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'll put it this way. If the Blues get Bedard, it'll be worth it. The Blues miss the playoffs and don't get a top 2 or 3 pick, then yeah, a lot of shit's going to change.
They need to miss playoffs if they're going to continue to play like this. Because as you know, being a Blues fan for many years, I know all too well the pain of just the first round exit and never keeping
that 20+ year streak alive of making playoffs and
right. It doesn't do anything. If you have no honest chance of winning the cup, it just sucks ass that you're not really in that draft lottery situation, Yeah. Speaking of the New York Islanders, as you kind of touched base on them, I just thought this was interesting. So Matthew Barzal has yet to score. Top line center, right? And he's got 14 assists, not a single goal. That has to be some kind of record.
I don't know. I mean, not a record probably, but for a guy of his caliber to expect that
playing time on ice, yeah.
I mean, and to be fair, I don't know. I mean, he hasn't put up crazy goal numbers in his career. He's always hovered right below 20. But yeah, still to have a point per game, literally over a point per game average with no goals is wild.
Yeah, he's 3rd in the entire league in assists right now with
fine.
14.
Keep him off the goal sheet. Guy's soft. He dives on the ice. He's garbage player.
What's up, Goons? Tyler Cash here from the Fourth Line Goon Hockey Podcast, interrupting today's episode to talk about our newest sponsor, Jesse Ray's Barbecue. Las Vegas barbecue has become a style of its own over the years. To sum it up with one word, it's perfection. Come try their award-winning slow-smoked ribs, chicken, pulled pork, hot links, and brisket. When I stopped in, I made sure I ordered the Fortress, and it was delicious. Let me tell you what, come in hungry or come with a bunch of friends because there's a lot of delicious food on that plate. They offer barbecue catering, dining in, takeout, delivery, and they also sell their award-winning barbecue sauce by the bottle. They just opened a location in Henderson at 308 North Boulder Highway. And of course, they have their original location located right behind Mandalay Bay at 5611 South Valley View Boulevard. They're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. They're open Friday and Saturday from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. For delivery, call 702-541-5546. Once again, that number is 702-541-5546. 541-5546. You can find him on Instagram and Twitter at Jesse Ray's Barbecue. And let me tell you what, ever since I moved out here to the desert 2 years ago, no other barbecue compares. Jesse Ray's is the real deal. Check it out. You will not be disappointed. We already know Schlafly Brewing Company is back to sponsor another season of Fourth Line Goon Hockey Podcast. But did you know that Schlafly is responsible for some of the best tasting craft beer I've ever had? No joke. One of my favorites they offer is the white lager. Lagers are usually bright and clear. Theirs takes the focus away from those qualities by emphasizing an orange zest and silky finish. Their rare style dates back to the Middle Ages, where beer was matured in deep vaults for months before emerging smooth and rich in vitamins. It remains unfiltered from keg to cup, bringing to life a German tradition with a twist. My family is German, and we love this beer. They also have the Just a Bit Hazy IPA. Their coffee stout dropped on Halloween weekend. Make sure you check them out on www.schlafly.com. That's SCHLAFLY.com. You can find them at Schlafly on Twitter or Schlafly Beer on Instagram. Schlafly Beer. Drink Mo Beer. Are you looking to sell your home? How about finally buying your dream home? Well, then look no further than Sin City Properties and my boy Adam Neglick, the smooth skating agent from Realty One Group. This is a true story, not just an ad read. My mom recently moved halfway across country from St. Louis, Missouri to fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada, and Adam was the man. Not only did he help her find her dream home, he made sure it was a smooth transition financially. He even helped us move. Now, I don't know how you guys feel about dealing with realtors, but a lot of times they're uppity, they're hard to talk to. That's not my boy Adam. He's a beauty to talk to. He's a hockey fan. He's a great guy. So let me put you in touch with him. Go to sincityproperties.com or you can call him at 702-335-2156. Once again, that's Adam Neglick, the smooth skating agent from Realty One Group. You can go to sincityproperties.com. You can get a free market analysis and he'll help you find your dream home today.
All right. So, not too much to talk about this week, other than how wild and wacky everything has been. And I feel like the best way to tie in the wackiness is that Mr. Deadpool Canadian actor himself, Ryan Reynolds, has decided to potentially purchase the Ottawa Senators. And that's a lot of fun, right?
Took in a game tonight. They put on a Jumbotron.
And as you mentioned, they started a chant, right?
By the team. By the team.
Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, I'm all for, unorthodox ways of bringing new and fun, exciting creativity to the game, like we're going to be bringing in people that have no idea, especially like, can you imagine like him being like the face kind of the franchise? He's not going to just be an owner that isn't around at all. Like he'll be a part of commercials, maybe advertisement, maybe even merchandising if you wanted to get creative. I mean, if there's one team in the league that is due for an overhaul when it comes to that, it's the Ottawa Senators. I mean, shit, just a couple of years ago, they were having to tarp off seats because they weren't able to fill it out their arena. So it got me thinking, right? Ryan Reynolds wants to buy a hockey team, and obviously he's a man of money and stature and he's able to make this happen. We're not, like, we don't have money, but I thought it might be fun to pretend if money wasn't an object, what team would we purchase and what would we do to that team to help them succeed? And obviously we have to remove the Blues and the Knights from the scenario. I think this would be a fun little question. Like, and obviously those listening at home and watching at home, we want to hear from you as well. Like what you would do, like relocating a team, who you would spend money on, like what kind of direction would you take it? I mean, all the rules out the window. And if you want, you can go first or I can go first. I kind of wanted you to go first because I want to see if you pick who I think you're going to pick.
You know who I'm going to pick who I think it is. I think it'd be great to turn the Yotes around, buddy.
Okay.
Get them going.
So how are you turning this team around as the owner? Day one, what are you doing?
So I think day one, I think from day one when you're in there, I think it's what the owner's probably doing right now, and the GM is like making sure first and foremost you get a fucking deal in Tempe so you actually get a new stadium built. That's apparently the rumor, not the rumor, but like apparently the council is recommending like we don't want to vote on this for political interest, so we're gonna put it to the voters. So it's gonna be a public vote, I think, to actually determine yes or no if the stadium gets built.
Okay, see if
Which is
there's any
fair.
interest. Yeah,
I think that's a fair move. I mean, that being said, I think like this is when you start. I think like it's. I don't think there's a way to like just immediately be like, boom, like here's people who are going to compete. I think it's 3-year plan, and I think year 3, you go out and you get Austin Matthews, you bring him home. Salary cap's going up. You know, if they suck enough this year, you get Bedard. You know, who knows? Maybe get another bottom 5 pick next year, and then boom, you know, he can. Austin Matthews can join the likes of what Coyotes legends, you know, Pavel, you know, Datsuk, but actually suit up and play a game, and Marian Hossa and you know, Hall of Famers, and put his name in the echelon of the Yotes franchise like some of these other greats. But I think, yeah, I mean, I think that's it. Is like you can set this team up for success. You can have some fun here these couple of years. Sure, people are going to make fun of you for the joke of locker rooms, the joke of amenities, your 5,000 sort of player stand arena. I think it's great. Like for what it's worth, like people, like here's the beauty of it, right? No one talked about Coyotes hockey for the last 3, 4, 5 years, except when they're potentially getting evicted from their last arena. Or haha, Coyotes suck. Here's another meme pretty much about the Coyotes and them sucking and signing some guy who's never going to play again. So cool, have fun with it. Make it your own fucking thing. Have people talk about you in a sense that's not like our team sucks. Maybe our arena's goofy in the situation that we're in, but like again, you got like a whole like what 300-400 students who can come to the game for like $20-$25, dress up in fucking banana costumes and just get wasted and like yell at players. It's great.
People are shitting on the whole Sun Devils scenario, and yeah, it's funny because it's almost like a real life movie of Major League where they're purposely tanking, like, or the owner's just not giving the team what they need to like succeed, so they're in the shitty locker room and they can't really have their presence be on the ice like they want it to be, and it's in a small arena. Dude, you could really make a movie out of it with like the 5,000 cap with all the people partying, like you said, banana suits, all the above. People are shitting on it, but I think it's going to help grow the team because it's a much smaller arena. It's going to look crazier. It's going to look more packed. You got Biz from Chicklets, and he's pumping everyone's tires on that and making everyone excited for it. And I don't know. I think it's going to be good for the team. Now, here's my question for you, though. Are you willing to pay Austin Matthews the amount of money that it's going to take to get him to come to there? I'm talking
so that's
15, 16 million. He's got to be up there.
That's the thing, though, right? Is like, I don't think you need to get there. If you can be like, yo, we got Connor Bedard. Yeah, look what he's done these last years, assuming he meets expectations. Like, you can play with this fucking guy. I'll feed you passes until you're like 50 years old if you want to be here that long. And I think that's beautiful. I mean, I think stuff like that. I mean, the Coyotes, except for 2 guys, don't have a contract. 3 guys don't have a contract longer than 4 years. That's it. So when Austin Matthews comes in, like, you got whoever you want. I'll go sign whoever you want. We got great depth coming up. We have fucking what is this? 7 picks next year, 14 picks the year following, 9-10 picks the next year. You know, they're all going to be shit picks, and like you can come in here and lead this franchise and lead your hometown to a cup. Like, done.
I personally don't see his ego shrinking down that small to go play in such a small market. As much as he probably would love to go home, I don't think he's there in his career yet, kind of like when Matty Tkachuk didn't come to St. Louis. I think they're not quite there yet.
So like that's the thing. It's not as small as market, I think, as people make it out to be. It's small because they've sucked for over a decade. Because they put their fans an hour away in Glendale, which is great for football. Go travel and fucking get wasted and tailgate. For hockey, doing that 40 times a year, not so great. When they go to the playoffs, the whiteouts were fantastic. The Shane Doan, Keith Tkachuk era was great, even though he didn't have any success. Like shit like that, where like they were talked about. No one said they weren't a hocky town. Yeah. They were 100% a hockey town there. It's like any town. Just talent plays.
So you're saying
money pays, talent plays.
Well, so you're saying location of the arena is like a huge factor as to why
1,000%.
the team hasn't.
All
Okay,
of the money is not on the east side of Phoenix in Glendale where it was. It's now on the so it's not on the west side where Glendale was. It's on the east side where like Tempe, Scottsdale is very, very where the rich kids honestly go to ASU. And the rich families live in Scottsdale, both like what 10, 15 minutes from the arena. Huge difference than I gotta drive out to Glendale at 7 o'clock for an hour and sit in traffic on a Tuesday night. I'm not gonna do that.
to watch my team suck ass.
Yeah,
and
right.
lose.
Exactly. I don't blame anybody for not doing it.
Fair. I did like how they gave away mullets for
That
their
was
their
sick.
home
The mullet
opener.
arena,
The mullet
mullets. See,
arena,
like shit like that. Make it fun. Make it
Yeah,
your own.
My thing is I think they should lean into it a little bit. They should have fun and they should lean into the jokes, and do they even have a mascot? Do the Coyotes have like a
howler?
Okay, well they need to lean into it. They need to have more fun with it for sure. Have the mullet nights and have the dollar beer nights on a college campus. Like
I don't know if that'd
get
get
these
approved.
get these I don't know, get the league talking, get the world talking about it. And as you said, Austin Matthews can do that. Are you going to make sure the Kashina jerseys are full time, or are you going to revamp them?
1,000%. Yeah.
Okay.
No question.
Well, I do want to add before I get into my pick, and my pick is kind of reasoning around this as well, is the Arizona Coyotes last season had the third lowest attendance in the league at just an average of a little over 11,000. Not actually as bad as I thought. Only the Sabres and the Senators are below them. So here's my take. If I had all the money in the world to buy a team, first of all, I'm uprooting them. I'm gonna go full madness, right?
Okay.
I'm taking the Jets out of Winnipeg, and I'm bringing them back to Atlanta, baby. I'm literally bringing back the Atlanta Thrashers.
You want to talk about a non-hockey market? There you have it.
Right, but here's the thing: the '90s nostalgia is in. Like, I feel like that team wasn't given a fair opportunity. They were barely around, and they didn't give them enough chance to really properly develop. And they had guys on the team, right? I think Chris Chelios played for the Thrashers, right? And
Confirmed.
and Hossa, and I don't know. Paul did Paul Bissonnette? No, Buffalin played for him too.
Keith Tkachuk played for a hot minute.
And Evander Kane.
Wow.
These are things that you can lean into. I'm ripping them out of Winnipeg. They need to shake things up. I'm putting them in Atlanta, and I'm changing the whole logo. I'm going to go back to the Thrashers in a certain sense. I think that would hype it up. I think Winnipeg has just been here, right? Like they a traditional hockey market that's not really a traditional hockey market anymore. Like they don't have that prestigious past that the Habs have or the Leafs have, and honestly,
it's in Phoenix.
No, I'm talking about. I said Winnipeg. I'm talking about Winnipeg.
The Jets were. The original Jets got moved to Phoenix.
Oh, that's right. That's right. So doesn't that technically mean that not the Coyotes, but Phoenix has had a cup, or is that what we're saying? Because didn't the Jets win a cup like way back when?
I don't think so. I could be wrong.
They need to shake things up. And you know what? If they won't let me. Okay, if they won't let me uproot their team, I'm just going to change the name. The Jets are out. The Thrashers are in. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to try to and have more fun with it and take the traditionalism out of it. The whiteouts are only going so far in the playoffs. You know, the coach of the Winnipeg Jets put his hands up and just walked away from the team because he didn't know what the fuck to do. They need to change things up. Scheifele and Wheeler can only do so much. Hellebuck is really pissing away his prime with this team. I think a change of scenery. I think bringing back the Thrashers logo would be tight, and and maybe finding that a face of the franchise to kind of to move forward. I guess I can't also go after Austin Matthews,
sure,
but. I mean, I'm going to throw some money at him, right? I'm going to be like, okay, Arizona's offering you 15. How about 20, bud? I don't care. I
have no success with a $20 million player.
Anyways, yeah. So thank you guys so much for supporting us. We're coming up on 100 episodes. Like before we know it, we're going to have 100 episodes. been doing this for 4 years. It's a blast. We want to thank our sponsors for doing such a great job sponsoring us. We didn't get to answer a lot of questions last week. All right, quick question, and then we'll get out of here. Penalties with under a minute left in overtime, should they lead to a penalty shot? Interesting question.
Simple answer, and this is what I wanted forever. No, but that player should not be allowed to participate in the shootout. Why? Your best players, your best scorers are on the ice, right? If it's penalty, you don't score, you're not allowed to shoot. End of story. That's why that's not a thing blows my mind. Like if you had a Jack Eichel take a penalty with 30 seconds left in overtime, oh, he gets to play now. If you had a Vladimir Tarasenko do the same thing, why he still got penalties served? Like, why is that not advantageous past overtime? I feel like, is it a big thing? No, but like if you do that, like, yeah, don't fucking shoot. That's how it should be.
That's fair. And I've talked about this before. I think that overtime should just be a continuous 3v3, and that every penalty should result in a penalty shot. Yeah. Is what I thought.
That's how Chell is online, for what it's worth, in the video games. So
awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you go back and listen to our last episodes. They've all been a blast so far this season. And follow us on social media. Cheers, everybody.
Let everyone.